It's Bourbon Night. Hello, I'm Chad.
I'm Sarah.
And we found a 1964 Mustang.
Well, a Decanter Mustang.
So we were at a estate sale.
Yes, I drugged Chad to an estate sale.
She drugged me.
We were just poking around, and all of a sudden he like squats down and he sees this box, and he's like, "What's this?"
What's in the box?
He's like, "What? Is that actually what's in the box?" Pulls it out, takes a look at it, gives it a little shake. It has liquid in it. Takes a look at the back, and the tack strip is sealed.
And the wheels came.
The wheels have come off, but it is sealed. It is fully intact.
Yeah.
We did purchase it. $40.
You can see decanters around a lot of places, but usually they're empty.
Usually, yeah.
This one is full. We've had one other experience, we'll talk about that later, with a Jim Beam decanter that was full. Now the specs on this guy aren't
a little
what
fuzzy.
We were hoping for. It's sort of like the lowest ring, right? 100 months, which is 8.33 years, which isn't bad for nowadays.
No, 80 proof though.
But 80 proof. Now,
So
the one we had before, it was a VW Bug and it was 86 proof.
that was pretty tasty.
That was tasty. We still have some of that, so we're gonna try it against this guy once we uncork it. Jim Beam decanter reviews aren't anything new.
No.
We've seen our buddy Clifton from Bourbon Bites and our other buddy Matt Porter from ADHD Whiskey do beam decanters before, but theirs was never as cool as a 64 Mustang. Matt had like a fish, and I forget what Clifton had.
Hey,
it was just
that's
like
very on brand for Matt.
That's true. We're gonna open this thing. We're also gonna give you a little bit of historical information about decanters as we go. It came with everything inside.
It came with all its paperwork.
All its paperwork, yeah, taxon license, including how to open this, which seems easy enough.
I don't know, Chad. I can't tell if that's a screw top, a cork, what's
Boom.
going on in there.
That's the thing. So we have some other decanters, which you're now seeing there on screen, and they've been a combination of cork and screw tops. All the corks we've ever had, of course, have broken.
Have broken.
Like
They
the one
crumble.
on the VW Bug broke. This guy, I can't tell if it's...
A screw top or not. It kind of looks like a screw top, but it's hard to tell.
Well, it has directions to turn it counterclockwise.
Unscrew cap for
Yeah,
pouring.
so
Well,
that's good.
mystery solved.
But I want to treat this tax stamp with respect, so I'm going to cut it as neatly as I can. And Sarah's going to have a close-up camera here, so if you want to grab that.
I'll be playing your photographer today. How does this thing work? I'm just kidding.
All right, beginning surgery. Slice, slice. Slice, slice. There we go. And now I will begin the opening of the bottle. Oh boy. It's a little stuck. Okay. Oh no. Oh! Pause for unscrewing. All right. Hey, it smells pretty good. All right. Thank you, Camera B.
You're welcome. Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Since we obviously didn't read and know that this was a screw top, we had our sieve ready to go.
In case we had some cork.
I guess we could, who knows what's in there? We could still use this.
Well, okay, so my problem is, as you'll be able to see, the spout is inside the back window of the car, so like pouring it into a Glencairn is gonna be a little
that was never an option.
It's gonna be a little precarious. So
gonna go into this
just
mixing
in case,
glass.
let's go ahead and do it this way.
Camera B has returned, so we can get a good shot of this. Oh, this is not gonna go well.
This is not gonna
How
go
did
well.
people used to do this?
Oh, and look at that mess. Wow. That's one way to do it. And that's everything. Look at that drip.
Ugh, that was terrible. I feel really bad about that pour. But how the hell else are you gonna get that done? I don't even know.
At least 1 to 2 ounces of it ended up on the table. Pause for paper towel break.
Pause for paper towel break. The quicker picker-upper over here.
Chad, you know we buy off-brand paper towels.
That's true.
Free advertising guy.
Bounty.
Well, it turns out we didn't need this sieve. Nothing came out of it, but better safe than sorry.
Okay, not the clearest.
It's not, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's not what I would call super.
I wouldn't call it
murky.
Cloudy, yeah.
Very maple.
It is, yeah.
Maple
it
brown
smells kind
sugar.
of syrupy, brown sugar for sure.
No nutty, no your typical Jim Beam nutty.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, Chad, because on the box and on the paperwork it says bottled by Jim Beam Distilling Company. It does not say distilled by.
Produced, distilled.
Which we know that, back in the 70s and 80s, like we have a bottle of Old Grandad 114 from the 80s that was actually owned by Jim Beam, National Distillers product.
Right, so
at some point when they bought it.
Jim Beam bought National Distillers in 86, I believe. So up until the early 90s, you still had National Distillers juice in OGD bottles, even though Beam owned it.
Now, not saying this is that.
No, this is 1984, which meant it's 8.33 years old, so it's 1976 Jim Beam distilled. Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Who knows what it is?
Yeah.
It really does smell like maple syrup.
That looks better in the glass.
It looks better.
Yeah.
Now, this is a porcelain decanter. Want to point that out. With the porcelain decanters and the ceramic decanters, we don't know if there is lead content.
Any decanters back then, because they painted it with lead-based paint. Because they didn't know any better.
Right, so we don't know if this one does or not. Don't recommend enjoying all of this in one sitting.
A lot of times the idea with vintage is after you crack it, drink it pretty quickly, so it does, because it can change faster than modern day bourbon as far as going from good to worse. But when it's from a porcelain decanter, I would not recommend.
Be careful.
Yeah, just
perhaps share it
a little bit over time, or share it is probably the best. That way you can
safely
replenish it without drinking it all yourself.
It has that vintage bug caramely, like this does not necessarily smell like an 80 proof. Normally when I smell an 80 proof, I'm like, this smells like flavored water.
It has some of the vintage funk, the caramel brown sugar.
Maple caramel brown sugar for sure.
Is there. You get it more on sort of like when it's spilled than you do with the nose and the Glencairn.
Kind of smells like a blondie brownie, like with pecans or something, like caramelized pecans.
But it smells nowhere near modern day Jim Beam. Just like a nougat cluster.
Yeah, I think it's like a maple pecan caramel kind of a thing.
All right, well, let's dig into it. To your health. know that. Hey. Wow, that's mapley brown sugar.
It is.
Desserty.
It's probably the most mapley Beam thing that I've ever had.
Yeah, like, is this exported from Canada?
Like, did they put Knob Creek maple in here before? No.
No, because
not that it doesn't taste like that. I know, I'm just joking. I'd say quality-wise, this one has held up. That is the risk that you take when you buy these decanters. Obviously, we cannot see inside of it, so we didn't know. So it's always a gamble. People will always be like, should I spend this many thousands of dollars on this, Old Rip Van Winkle decanter because I really want it.
Old Crow Chessman.
And I'm like, I cannot, again, not legal advice, not financial advice,
it's
not medical
like
advice.
Playing the lottery, right?
You're gambling, right? You do not know what's going to come out of that decanter.
Now, I do like the flavors on this, but it is no finish to speak of. And that's just
it's light.
The 80 proofness of it, right? It's gone like that. There's not really much oak. It's more like almost like cedar. It's like a different type of wood on
like
it.
an old cedar chest type of thing.
But like, when do you get to try 1976 distilled Jim Beam?
Not that often.
Even if it's 80 proof, we're gonna try it. All right, before we go any further, we want to hit pause and tell you about our home on the internet. It's whiskyambitions.com. It's where you can get the t-shirt that I'm wearing, hat, Glencairns we're drinking from. We also have hoodies when it starts getting cold out there, more bottle cut candles, coins, pins, and so much more. Always coming soon at whiskyambitions.com.
And you can become a patron at patreon.com/itsbourbonnight and join our community for as little as $1 a month. And we got some exciting barrel picks coming out, and that's where you can get them exclusively, as well as the opportunity to participate in a barrel pick, depending on your tier, discounts on that merch, and more.
And we'll be right back. I do want to try it against this VW Bug.
Okay.
Which Krista and Josh, a couple of our patrons and friends now, brought to one of our Patreon meetups. And we shared it with everybody, and we have a little bit left. Now, it had a cork, and it fully disintegrated, so we did a sieve and
this isn't Michter's. This is the bottle that we had on hand.
We had a Michter's that we poured it into, and this is what we have left. So we're gonna try it against this guy. This is 86 proof, but also 100 months old.
And what year was that from?
Sold in 1973, which means it was distilled in 1965.
Okay.
Much like our 65 Mustang.
So I was surprised to find out
64.
What? Yeah, what's your deal?
64 and a half. 64 and a half.
Car people.
Is what they should call this.
If you're a car person.
It just says
No
64.
Anyways, I was surprised to find out the Beam did decanters going back to the 1950s. And then they went all the way up until like early 90s, potentially early 2000s.
One site we found said 2005, but everywhere else seems to say 92, which is when their Regal China plant that made the majority of these closed in 92. So that's when most people say they stopped doing these. Although you'll see a commemorative one at the American Outpost like yearly, I think. So someone else is making them, but I don't think those have liquid in them. Wow, that's different.
It doesn't have that mapley, but it does kind of have that vintagey funk.
Vintagey funk, a lot more perfume.
More floral.
For sure.
Clarity-wise, I think the bug, the beetle, is a little more clear.
I agree.
I mean, I guess we can be thankful that it didn't come out as cloudy as that 89 Old Commonwealth, right? Like,
okay, so we want to thank our friend Jeff Lum for gifting that 89 Old Commonwealth 80 proof Stizle-Weller juice.
Cause like, who gifts that?
For my birthday, and
I didn't even get him anything that nice.
And we cracked it open. Also, the cork disintegrated upon uncorking. We shared it, and it was cloudy. You can see here, I put a bottle of 80 proof Four Roses, modern day Four Roses, up to it. So you can see in this other bottle, that's a 1910 bottle, how cloudy that 1910 bottle is with the 89 in it, next to a modern day 80 proof Four Roses. And it tasted...
It tasted funky.
Off. Funky, but when we say vintage funk, that's like a term of endearment. This... Again, Jeff, if you're watching, love you, buddy, love you.
He didn't make it.
He didn't make it, and again, it was in a sight unseen, so he had no idea.
It was a gamble.
It was very appreciated, but yeah, you can see how that one's a little murky.
It was a fun experience, but it had seen its time had passed.
Right. So, what do you think in comparison to the VW Bug?
I think the Bug actually has, even though it has more clarity to it, I think it has more of that slightly oxidized, like funky, not astringent, but I guess that's what a little bit of astringency to it.
What a difference.
It's not
6
bad.
points in proof make though, from 80 to 86 proof.
It actually has a finish.
Big difference. It has a finish. Although, 80 proof back then drinks much better than 80 proof today, so 86 back then, even better,
right? But I will say, I think flavor-wise, this one has held up much better. I get all caramely goodness.
It's a shame with the Mustang, it's got this really rich palate, but it just goes away so quickly.
Because it's so low proof.
Yeah.
So much water.
Now, another sort of question is how many decanters did Jim Beam make?
Like, how rare was this one?
Not super rare. I think they made a red one that is more rare.
More rare.
I think they made a few colors in this one though.
Well, because again, we bought this for $40 at the estate sale. So the question is, did we get our money's worth, right?
We are answering that question.
Worth?
Yeah. We've got this much left. We will share it. We'll put this in a... We're not just going to leave it like this.
We're not just going to leave it like this.
We're going to put it in another, bottle.
Nondescript, confusing
We'll label
vessel.
it. We'll label it this time. Cork it up and share it. But yeah, for $40, because we looked on eBay and they're selling empty ones of these for $40. So if we wanted, we could get our money back just by selling this. I think we're gonna keep it.
Yeah, but we could recoup our, if we felt like, oh, what a waste of money.
Yeah.
This was terrible. We poured it. It was cloudy, undrinkable. At least if we wanted to, we could recoup our money. So I think we didn't lose anything. We didn't waste money. But the question is, did we just blow up like a bunch of money by opening and pouring this? Some people were probably cringing like, don't open that relic or whatever.
Well, the thing with Jim Beam decanters, they're worth almost the same whether they have bourbon in them or not, because the people who collect them are collecting the decanters, not the bourbon. Now you will find people who, like us, who want it, especially when the tax strip is in such great shape and you can tell there's no tampering. We want it because we want to drink it. This might have gone for $100.
Maybe $150 maximum, but probably $100.
Probably $100.
Say we sold this back for $40 empty decanter. Okay, so we lost $60, but we got this bourbon out of it.
So is this worth $60?
I think so.
I'd say so.
Yeah, just for a taste of history from, some 1976 distilled Beam.
You could buy, Basil Hayden for $60 and it'll be modern day 80 proof, and
I'd rather have this.
Yeah, so
for sure.
that answers your question. I think they still have this on the tour. If you go to Jim Beam and take the tour, I think you go through a room that still has the decanters. I did this back in 2015, which I took some pictures of, which you're seeing now, of their collection.
So this one isn't particularly collectible, but there are some really collectible, or rare ones out there, valuable.
One of the most valuable ones is a 1964 First National Bank of Chicago that goes for around $3,000. And again, that's probably empty because there was only 114 of them made. It was
117.
For their 117. You're right, Sarah. It was for their 100th anniversary. So
$3,000 for an empty vessel.
And another one is a 1991 Jim Beam Gold 18-wheeler. Don't know why that one's also going for around $3,000. Maybe it was a limited run of that one too. Besides that, you're looking around $50 to $80 at most for the more valuable ones. Like there's a telephone one. We have a telephone one, but this one's a different style. A telephone that's like $80, but most of them you're gonna see like this one around $40 in great shape or less.
For us, it was just really cool to find it. Like when we found it, we had absolutely no intention of reselling it, so that wasn't even on our minds. We just thought, hey, this isn't something that happens to you every day. You don't just stumble into one of these sales and find something like this. It was just a cool experience for, you know, for Chad to stumble across that. And then, yeah, we spent $40 on it, but we got this bourbon. We got now this decanter that we can do something with, and we got an episode and content to share with you all. And I think we were just mostly excited about sharing our find.
I always love opening up an old bottle and seeing what you got. Like I said, it's a gamble, it's a risk, but you gotta find out, right? You can't
it's like a mystery pack of baseball cards or something.
Exactly.
Who knows what you're gonna
get?
Open
it up and find out. That's where you better leave it. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to us already, you can do so by clicking right up here. There's suggestions of other videos down here. Hope to see you over there in one of those. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Chad.
All right, until next time, drink more vintage bourbon.